Yo, Klipsch guy here. What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part 4, the final episode of spending 2 weeks with a Klipsch system. If you find yourself here for the first time, first and foremost, thank you so much for watching and make sure to tap that subscribe button. Let's start with a recap of the series. 2 weeks ago in part 1, I purchased the Klipsch reference line from Best Buy in an attempt to spend 14 days listening to them in place of my current system. In part 2, we had our music listening test using these speakers. The goal was to play every genre of music until I had a thorough sense on their strengths, weaknesses, and everything in between. Part 3 was a movie demo. I wanted to see just how well these speakers could put me live into the movie. How do they handle high amounts of volume, and how detailed can they be at those high volumes? In part 4, today, we will put all my thoughts together on these particular Klipsch speakers. Let's start with the movie and home theater. In my opinion, I believe if you're someone out there looking for these speakers, you should be buying them for home theater because that's where these excel. Not that you can't enjoy music on these speakers, but we'll get to that in just a moment. I made sure during these 2 weeks to remember the price point and where these are in the Klipsch lineup. These are not Klipsch's best foot forward, but I was still impressed with their ability to fill the room with energy and give me a soundstage that felt as big as the screen I was watching. One of my favorite 4K Ultra HD movies to demo is Hacksaw Ridge. This is a Dolby Atmos encoded war-type movie with sound engineering that will stretch the limits of a home theater and expose any weak points it may have. This movie has an amazing Atmos track with a lot of battle chatter and tight, punchy bass. This forces speakers to remain composed under stress. Explosive bass for grenades, mixed with 4 or 5 people yelling at once, combined with the subtle sound of grains of sand falling back from the ground from a grenade that detonates. Yeah, it's a lot, and these speakers did very well handling that even at high volumes, although the louder you go, the more tangled the sound became. But we're talking near reference levels, so I'll let it pass. The center channel is smaller than what I typically have in my home theater, but it actually kept up well with the rest of the system. I usually keep my center channel crossover at 60 Hz, and I was able to keep that setting with the R34C. Those 4 drivers across the front are responsible for different responsibilities within the range of frequencies, but with them all being 3.5 inches in size, there are times when the vocals coming through it sounds thin in comparison to the rest of the lineup. I think the R52 would match much better. All in all, I think these speakers perform well for home theater and will make a good setup in a small to medium sized room. Moving on to music, this is where you're reminded these speakers are $4.99 a piece. These aren't the kind of speakers you want to do any critical listening on. They are rather large towers for the price, which really helps in the low bass department. Listening to multiple genres of music, I quickly found out how good these speakers were at reaching bass just slightly below 40 Hz. This made it possible to listen to these speakers without a subwoofer, which is typically how I like to listen. I played a few test sweeps and I was able to get audible output at 30 Hz. Not usable output, but I could hear it. The efficiency of these speakers really comes into play as well. Klipsch speakers has always been known to be very efficient speakers, meaning they don't need a lot of power to create a big soundstage, but if you can give them the juice, do it. Speakers like these thrive with rock music or pop rock and things of that nature. When I first started this series, most of my viewers said that I'd find these speakers to be a bit bright or even harsh, and honestly, I expected to find much of the same, but I didn't. I didn't have anything bad to say about that horn-loaded tweeter in the R820s or the center channel. I found it to be very tasteful, but it could be the way my Anthem ABM70 calibrated it. Who knows? But there was one blatant issue I found with these speakers, no matter how I positioned them. It was the mid-range, or lack of it, I should say. Highs were there, low bass was there, but there was a hole missing in the sound. No matter what kind of music I listened to, I always felt like something was missing, and it threw me off because it took me completely out of the experience. I'm surprised because with dual drivers in each cabinet of this size, I thought maybe it would strive in the mid-range or even overachieve. Nope, not the case. During movie playback, I didn't have this same feeling, which is why I feel these are like 70% home theater speakers and maybe 30% music. Don't get me wrong, these sound good if you remember how much you paid for them, but there was a blatant hole in the sound and the soundstage never felt very large. It didn't envelop me in the room the way it did for movies, but for $4.99 a piece, I don't think they underperformed either. So what was it like spending 2 weeks with a Klipsch system? It was good. It was an experience I'm glad I had, and I enjoyed it enough to try and get my hands on the RP8000Fs. Hopefully, at least. Klipsch, if you're watching this, send K-Pace guys some test speakers for review. I've heard many different Klipsch speakers almost everywhere except in my room. This was my first time getting a chance to sit down in my own space and assess them with my own gear, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Some of my viewers think I'm a Klipsch hater because I'd rather buy something else, but that's just not the case. Klipsch are phenomenal, but they aren't the only phenomenal speakers out there. My Canton Ventos are incredible, but there are also speakers out there that are even more incredible. So it comes down to personal taste and what sound signature you're after. Audio is so subjective that instead of trying to convince people that one thing is better than another, it's easier and better just to be happy that someone just like you is enjoying the hobby you also enjoy. As I box up the Klipsch speakers and send them back to Best Buy, I'm reminded just how incredible the art of music is. And I hope with this series you feel the same way too. My 2 weeks with Klipsch speakers have been a learning experience and has sharpened my ear that much more. But I miss my Canton Ventos. During these 2 weeks, I also realized that not everyone's wallet looks the same as the person next to them, meaning $499 for one speaker is a lot of money, and these may be the best sounding speakers they've ever heard, while the person behind them owns $10,000 speakers and thinks these speakers are terrible. I say that to say we all came from different walks in life, and that's 100% okay. Don't take life too seriously. It's too short for that. I plan to get the Klipsch RP8000Fs in for a review. I won't make a 4-part series like this, but more of my traditional review. If you guys are interested in seeing what I think about Klipsch flagship RP line, leave me a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below telling me what you think about Klipsch and this series as a whole. What speaker should I spend 2 weeks with next? We've done Bose and now Klipsch is on the list, so what's next? If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. I post videos about 3 times a week, and if I'm feeling frisky, I may post a 4th. The support from you guys keeps me motivated to make more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe if you're not already. I hope you enjoyed this journey finding out what it was like spending 2 weeks with a Klipsch system.